Okay, there we are. We are live in the group. I'm pretty sure I was telling Callie last time that I don't really know how to like open these, and I also don't know how to end them. So there's just gonna be like a lot of middle part. But that's okay.
It's like welcoming live tonight with Morgan. It's Rachel.
And Rachel, yay! Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. So welcome back everybody who is here watching us live on our web show with Rachel tonight. We're currently live streaming this in DPT to CEO Facebook group, but it will also be going up on the podcast and the YouTube channel. So if you want to catch it there, please feel free to. And anybody who is here live, feel free to comment questions you might have. Or if you're catching this on the replay, feel free again still to comment with any questions. And either myself or Rachel will get back to you. And if you're new here, we started this interview series. Remember, it was either last year or the year before. And we've been interviewing, the first season was kind of like interviewing a lot of other like cash practice owners. And then this season, I've talked to a few people who do things like a little bit differently, but all of us still have therapy backgrounds. And so it's kind of cool to see like what other opportunities there are. So thank you guys so much for being here. And I guess like without further ado, let's introduce our special guest of honor for the hour, Miss Rachel. Thank you so much for being
Oh, thanks for having me.
Rachel and I met like this time last year, I think, or maybe like a little bit later.
The first time I reached out to you was in the summer. I think it was a friend of mine. I'll never forget it. Shout out to Bill.
Yeah.
And he mentioned to me a while ago, like what he was trying to do. Like, yeah, I'm thinking about going cash based. And this is like, maybe like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. I was like, cash based, this guy's crazy. I was like, what is he talking about? Cash based therapy. And then, kind of like, then I followed him along and I saw him growing. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I reached out to him and he mentioned about how he's doing this cash base and how it's growing. And then he mentioned your name. Like, yeah, I got in touch with this girl, Morgan. And I'm like, okay. And then I was like, I Googled you, obviously. Everyone does Google everybody. And I was like, who is this girl? What is she doing? And then the first contact was, you're right, in like summer. Mm-hmm. And that's when we kind of just talked about working together. And then that's when I was like hesitant, like, I don't know, like, do I want to commit to it? I don't know what I want to do yet. And then it was a couple months later, I was just decided, I'm like, yep, I need to go. I need to do it. This is it.
Yeah. And like, that is really, I think, like the key thing is that you might not be like ready for all of it because, it might be kind of like scary, but like you being decisive is like the first thing that you need, I think, in order to be successful long-term in whatever kind of business you end up doing. So Rachel took some time to think about it. We met up later and the rest is history.
Oh yeah.
So the first place we want to start, Rachel, for those of the people in the group who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit more about like your background and what kind of led you to be where you are?
Sure. So background, born and raised in Pennsylvania, graduated from Pitt 2015 from PT school and dove right into orthopedics right away. Was in outpatient orthopedics after I graduated. I was in 2 different orthopedic jobs, actually, because I was living in Kentucky. So worked there for a couple of years. And that's where I did a residency. I got my OCS. I'm like, great. Everything's all golden, right? I'm just learning. I'm a sponge and I just want to learn all the things. Then my husband then got a job in Columbus. So we packed up and moved to Ohio, where then I got another orthopedic job. Lots of surgeries, post-ops, all that good stuff. And it was a good company. There was nothing wrong. It was doing everything that normal orthopedic clinics do. Try to get you to see patients, get them in, get them out. I wouldn't say it was like, I've seen crazier, but we were still seeing a decent caseload, like at least, 55, 60 a week. So still having double, people double up an hour, sometimes triple for those late night appointments. And then it was COVID. Leave it to a pandemic to really open my eyes. And that's when, our numbers got significantly smaller. And I was like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot what it was like to treat one-on-one and have time after the treatments to do a good note and even like, you know what, like, you know, I did good, but I think I can do better with this patient. Let me research and to have the time to, like, you know, and then, you know, once I started, things started going back up, numbers started going back up. I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this. Like, I don't want to go back to those numbers. I don't want to double up my patients. I said, this is nuts. That led me then to, again, like, look into what Bill was doing and then contact him about how he went about the process, and then just reading more about it, of course, like going on podcasts and reading blogs and getting the books just to kind of, immerse myself in some of it, see what it's like. And then, then I just decided at one point, I talked to my husband, like, listen, I don't want to do this forever. He's like, okay, well, you don't want to be a PT? I'm like, no, I want to be a PT, but I don't want to be this PT. Like, I want to be a PT that I always dreamed about. I want to help people and give them my full attention and energy. And I said, and I'm just so stressed at work. I come home and I do, you know, an extra 3 hours of notes. Like, I'm drained. Like, I physically and mentally have no more room to want to learn more. And that's what bothered me. I'm like, but that's not me. Like, I want to continue growing. I want to continue to, like, you know, learn from other people. But at one point it's like, you just shut down. And I'm like, no wonder people get burnt out. And then, so then that's what really said. Once I learned about it, just dipping my toes, not sure, like, I don't know if this is for me. And then we first kind of talked, but then as it kept going, I was like, no. I was like, where is it? People asked me before, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I'm like, not this. So so then talked to you for the second time in like October of last year. And then that's when I officially said, yep, pedal to the metal, let's do it. Maybe I said at the time I talked to you, like, maybe it wasn't like the best time, but there is no best time. If I could tell anyone, I could always have an excuse of like, oh, I'll just wait till next month. I was pregnant. I had a lot of family illnesses going on, and I just dove right into it. I was like, what better time than now?
I know. And like, that's something that, like, I really, you know, like, I admire about you, and kind of like one of the hallmarks of us, like, working together, you know, like, of course we have to make room for life balance, right? You know, and not like push ourselves to the brink of exhaustion. But Rachel has never let anything get in her way. The entire time that we've been working together, since she started her business, all kinds of things have happened, you know, but like, she's like, you've stayed on the path the entire time, and you keep going. Like, you don't like stop or meander or, you know, whatever it is. And like, that's just like, that's so important. And, you know, I think for you, it probably feels like it comes like naturally that, well, I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it.
There is no fail. You know, there's always failures in there. Like, okay, you can do that better, but there is no to fail. There is just work harder. There's just do better.
And just keep going, whether it's you know, like an inch at a time, a foot at a time, a mile at a time. You know, you're just going to keep forward, and like that's so important, you know, going into business for yourself. But like, another question that I had for you, you know, because like when we first met, like, you know, kind of like wavering back and forth about like whether you want to do it or, you know, come hang out with me. What do you think, like, really, I don't know, like, pushed you to like, okay, like, I'm doing this?
Yeah, I think the big push was like just thinking of the big picture. You know, like understanding that, okay, yes, you know, like everybody, the biggest thing is the commitment, the money commitment, trying to put your best foot forward. But I like how what Callie said was like investing in yourself, you know, and that's what I really had to sit back. I was like, okay, you know what, Rachel, like, enough's enough. You know, like after we talked our first time, I didn't like sign on with you, but we just talked, and you kind of just gave me some, you know, suggestions of what to do next. I went and did them, but when you don't have somebody behind you, one, to help guide you on the correct steps, and two, honestly, I need that deadline. Rachel, get this done by next week. Okay, got it. You know, if not, I drag my feet. I'm like, oh, well, I'll do it someday. And then I finally just thought, like, no, like, someday is yesterday. You know, like, you should have done this. And that's what really pushed me. Like, when I decided, I talked to my husband, I said, listen, this is an investment. Like, this is something that I'm investing in myself. I want to do this. In order to do this, I need her help. I need her to help guide me. I need her to help me understand, you know, the best way to go about doing this, the correct way. And he was like, all right. He's like, if that's what you want. I'm like, that's what I want. So
And I like that, you know, you pointed out the, going back to like the investing in yourself thing. And, like, I know that these are different circumstances, but I think like Callie and I talked about it, we spent how many hundreds of thousands of dollars on school, and like, there's no guarantee even, like as we saw over the past few years of, like guaranteed employment. It's better now is what it seems like to me. But, so many people were let go just like despite having made that investment. And, for me, that's why having a business is so important, because even if you don't do it full time or like full gung ho or whatever, you always have another way to make money. No matter what else happened. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. And then there was another thing I was going to say, but I forget. So tell us a little bit more like about your practice now.
So my practice now, well, first off, before I started working with you, that was the one thing that I will say, if anybody is wavering about maybe a niche or certain clientele to focus on, Morgan was very helpful with that, because I was like, oh, I'll just do like low back pain. Well, great, Rachel. That's like the biggest range of things you could possibly target. Now, and at the time when I started working with you, I was pregnant, and we're just chit-chatting one day and just talking about, well, what do you like to do? I'm like, well, I like to stay fit. I like to exercise. It's very important to me. And you're like, Rachel, that's your niche. I'm like, exercise? You're like, no, pregnancy, exercising, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and then all of a sudden, like the light, it just switched. As soon as we talked about that, I just like, oh my gosh, it's so true. Like after my first baby, I'm a physical therapist, and I'm a pretty good one, but yeah, I still gave myself sciatic pain. I tweaked my right glute. I gave I did all these things wrong because I went in way too fast and do the proper conditioning I needed to do, strengthening on my pelvic floor. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I'm even, I know enough, but apparently not well enough or not educated enough. So like, I can't imagine these other moms out there that don't even have a background in healthcare and what they're dealing with. And so reaching out to my friends and other moms that I've been meeting, and same thing. It's just like, yeah, I just deal with the back pain. It's like, what do you mean? Yeah. Or, oh yeah, I just leak every time I sneeze. Like, I mean, it's just such this thing that as I learn more, it's like, it's almost as if like moms just get second, it's like babies, it's a baby. It's all about the baby, which don't get me wrong, babies are great. But then it's just like, it's all about the baby. And like, well, what about the mom? And then, but from that point forward, when that mom has that baby, you're a mother. And that's how you're always seen. You're a mother, which is great. But what about you? What about you as a person? Like what are your goals? Like I said, even before treating this like moms and postpartum, pregnancy, and everything, my moms I would see for chronic low back pain started after like their second kid. They're like, oh yeah, I've had back pain for 10 years after my second C-section. No one sees this connection. Nobody. Yeah. So again, I could go on. Sorry, I get very passionate. Ever since we found out, like I was like, this is it for me. Like got certified pregnancy and postpartum specialist, and started doing more courses and getting out there, educating. And I'm hooked up now with a local mom's workout class here that I'm doing workshops for them for DR to work on ab and proper posture with everything. And it's been great. And I've even been reaching out to other therapists and do the same thing I do. At first I was nervous for that. It's like, oh, competition. But it's like, yeah, people that are out there, women, pregnant women, not pregnant women, postpartum. I said, like, if anything, it's a strength. Like to get to know all these other women that treat it and to be able to converse with each other, it's awesome. So starting to build up that community as well. And yeah, it's really been good. So that's kind of where I'm at now, just trying to start seeing, I'm still doing on my PRN job of home health. So still doing that about 3-4 days a week. And then just on the side every day or two, just seeing a couple patients, starting to slowly just build up. But that's what I'm excited for right now. It's just the build up, like I was talking to you, I was just went to a mom's workout class, and mom was next to me, and I was just talking with her, and she just looked at me. She goes, I need you. She goes, I think I need you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And next thing you know, we have an appointment. I'm seeing her next week for an eval. So it's just nice. I think when you get to immerse yourself in your clientele, in your niche, and it's too, like you're a CrossFitter, right? You go into CrossFit, but they view you as another person, not as this like, scary, like I can't talk to, like, no, like she's a real life person. She's going through this kind of stuff too. And she's, a professional, and she's, well versed in it. So it really helped make that connection. I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember what you've been through. I've had 2 kids.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me. It's like, oh, I did this, this, and this, and look at me now running.
Yeah.
It really does help. Like I'm a walking, breathing example that it works when you do it right. So I think that really does help, having them see me as just one of them. I'm just a person just like you that have the same issues. And it really opened up doors and just easy communication.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Rachel. Like, as you were talking about that, I got the shivers because like you're so right. Like, I feel like, excuse me. Everybody talks about your niche, like go where they are, wherever your niche is. And I was just talking to one of my friends here who's also a mobile therapist the other day, and like the communication, the language, and like seeing each other as peers rather than like the authority and like regular person. Like it makes such a big difference, because when you're talking together about like all the things that you have in common, all the life experiences and symptoms or what have you currently, and like why you're there exercising at the mom's class, why I'm at the gym or whatever, it just gives you a whole other level of like and building rapport and building trust. When they know the person in front of you, they know that you're pretty similar. And like I think that you put it really, really well. And I think like one thing that I might encourage anybody listening to this who feels like they're having trouble like talking to their audience, more than even just like getting involved in the community, you have to be on the same level and use language that's like not professional, I guess, for lack of a better word. My friend I was talking to, like, she was saying how she was like networking and talking to other people about her business, which is great, way better than not talking about it at all. So if you're out there struggling and you haven't told anybody about your business, please do. That's step 1. And then like step 2 is going from a place where I say, hi, Rachel, my name is Morgan. I'm a physical therapist and I help relieve like joint pain and nerve pain and help people like get out of bed, blah, 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 anatomy and science. That's like, somebody will be like, that's cool. Like, thanks for telling me. But instead of having like kind of like that cold and like distant, I guess, like talking at somebody, getting on that person's level and just going to the class because you enjoy it and you want to get to know new people, even though it might not give you like a patient tomorrow, like ultimately people are going to get to know you, like you, and trust you, and they'll realize they can talk to you about things. And like you said, you're a person and also happen to be a professional. So they're, somebody feels comfortable with you, then they're going to be open to work. So,
I said the rapport thing is, that's, as I said, if they can connect with you on a similar level, I mean, that's half the battle right there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I said, everybody who's a PT out there knows like our job is, lots of psychosocial. Okay. So if somebody likes you and trusts you, we already have half the game, get an exercise like that's what you got to do. But when I had to go back and you mentioned about like how to talk to patients, I wish people could have seen some of our conversations when we first started about talking with clients. If anybody can tell right now, I can talk my butt off. I can go off. It's not a hard thing at all to do. When you told me about the talking to a patient, I could talk, but I would just babble. I would be like, well, I can do blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, whoa, Rachel, let's take a paragraph down to 2 sentences. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Because I am spilling my heart out. I am telling you all the things that I could do for you. And I care so much. It's like, okay, well, they don't care all about that. Like all the things that you're saying. And I think that's what helped me. I think because at first I'm just like, I don't want to get it. Why am I not turning over so many patients? Like I am showing my passion. I am showing all this stuff. And that just took, like I said, just for example, that one I just did yesterday, I just talked to her even before. I'm like, listen, I can help you with this. Like you have this, you don't have to be like this. And that's what she's like, yep, I need you. I'm like, great, let's go. It's just showing that, like I said, showing that you care, like listening to them, like, oh, what's going on? And she's telling me about how she tried running and she ended up crying because she was so upset, and she's had 14 surgeries and nothing's ever helping. And I said, listen, I can help you. Like, I can help you. Like what you're doing right now, I said, doesn't have to be like this. And we, again, talked for like another minute or two, and she's like, okay. It was like during like one of our walk laps we were doing together. She's like, yep. She goes, let's do this. I'm like, awesome. But so it's just simple. I feel like it takes stress off of me as well. And you don't view yourself as in the conversation, like you are the professional, like you help me. Like I had to be a little bit more stern, like I said, telling people I can help you. But I also view it as I'm the professional, but I am a friend too. Like I'm a professional, but I care. Like I know what you're going through. I care what's happening to you. So if you spin it that way, it's just showing them like, listen, I understand what you're going through. I want to help. I have helped people with the same issue. When do you have time? Let's talk, tomorrow at 2:00.
Yeah.
Like, that has made such a difference. Like just slowing myself down and just realizing, listen, if it was me in that shoes, if somebody talked to me in like paragraph form and started spilling out jargons of, well, I can help relieve your sciatic pain. It's like, I don't care about that. I just want to be able to run. Like, okay, well, let's, like just breaking things down. So yeah.
It's almost like I think that there are a lot of factors that can go into it, but I've seen it, time and again with other therapy practice owners and myself, for some reason, we feel like we have to like explain ourselves or defend ourselves. And that's why I think a lot of us will just like ramble. But like, it really is like less is more. And like you said, like simple, even like 5-word sentences, because like, and we think about it, and you and I have talked about this, but like when you kind of like word vomit all over somebody and just like give them way more information than they need, I feel like it's kind of similar to and somebody has a problem like this, they're probably going online and trying to find the information that they need to fix it, but there's so much information available, they don't know where to start. Or what's right for them, what's appropriate, what's not good for them. And that's where like the professional can step in and guide them. And if you just pile more information on top and options, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
Like you put the burden of fixing somebody's problem on the client, and that's not why they're hiring you.
Yeah. I think why I did it too and why other people do it is you're in a new situation. Like as a PT, I never had to ask for money. I never did. You show up, I do the eval, I set appointments. Oh, question about insurance, front desk, please. Not me. Like, nope, please refrain to somebody else. So in my mind, when I'm thinking about, okay, I'm about to ask somebody to invest in me, to give me money, I feel like I have to almost like defend myself right away. Like, well, I'm going to give you this, and this, and this. It's like, well, why? It's almost like it's like a little nervous tick of like, oh, I'm about to ask for money, so I need to just word vomit everything that I can do for you. And I think the more I just step back and realize, like, okay, like what I'm providing is such an exceptional service and an investment. It goes right back to why I was hesitant, in the first place to get a business coach. It's an investment. Like the money that you are spending with me is an investment in your health, an investment in your future to continue doing what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And and not to mention, it's going to save you a ton of time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Whether you're investing in a business coach, in a program, in therapy yourself or other medical care, like I just started seeing like a functional medicine nurse practitioner, and she charges $250, for an evaluation, and that's not unheard of for us. So like I totally understood that, and like I was referred to her. She had what I needed and like what I was really looking for. And so, like when I could like see in her, this confidence that you're talking about, where she knows that she can provide results and she can help like guide me towards what I want to be doing. Of course, please take my money, because I'm sick and tired of trying to figure it out on my own, whatever the problem may be.
Yeah.
So I always forget what I'm going to say. Gosh. But yeah, I think like one thing that I was just thinking about too, like while you were talking, can you believe like how far you've come in just like the psychology of like all this stuff?
Oh, no. I said, I was probably, like I said, I've always been a talker, but when it came to like selling myself, I was beginner stage. Like I was like almost as if like I feel like at first I didn't have like the confidence in me. I don't know if it's just because I was really focusing on like more women's health stuff, and in my mind I'm like, man, I don't know, do I have enough like women's health experience to be doing this? And I'm like, well, wait a minute, Rachel, like you're doing it to yourself right now. Like you are literally being your own therapist throughout 2 pregnancies, learning, building. You've been treating women for how many years?
Right.
And I think it just made me like kind of step back, like you you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. And I said, the more that I was learning, I'm like, oh yeah, that's just sounds great. I kind of do this stuff very similar already, and just spinning it in terms that help moms that, you know, more newly postpartum as well, like maybe things to focus on earlier in their rehab process. But yeah, I mean, no, to be honest, when we first decided on, like, you know, numbers on how much I was gonna, like, for the evals and stuff, I was like, you're like, oh, you okay with that? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I went up to Eddie, I'm like, I'm not okay with this. I'm like, I don't know. Like, who's gonna pay me like over $200 for an evaluation? Who the heck's gonna pay me that? And then when I stepped, you know, took a couple days to back, I'm like, well, Rachel, if you won't even pay for it yourself, who else would pay? You know, right. So it's made me just step back and realize, think about all that you're offering. Like you mentioned, it's money. It's just a number. It's just a number. You know, and if somebody really wants your services, you know, and it's really invested, like that's nothing to them. It really isn't. And that's what made me kind of step back and realize, you know, this is fine. I say, this is fine. You're like, I'm worth it. The patient deserves this. You know, this is an investment again for them. Yeah. And just like my mom always told me, you pay for what you get, you know, you really do. So it's, you know, when you invest that kind of money in something, you're getting somebody who is giving you the time, their full attention, and, you know, it's going to get you better. Like you said, even faster.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think, you know, maybe like, I don't think I've talked about this in a while, on any of these live streams, but the point that you brought up about, you know, like, would you pay that? Like, whatever the price is. You know, I just want to put it out there to anybody listening that, you know, you don't have to start with $250 or $200. You know, if you're just like, no, I wouldn't pay that, then what would you pay? You know, and maybe it's $150, maybe it's $100, maybe it's $50, you know, but if you really want to do this, you have to start somewhere. You know, like, even though there are like objective numbers that you need in order to meet your financial goals and like your time goals, which is a whole other topic for, you know, like another video or whatever. If you're really, really uncomfortable with it, then don't charge it. And that's totally okay. Like, there are plenty of people I've worked with who started at like $125, and then every 6 months or so they'll increase it, and that's fine. You know, and like, that's one of like the bonuses of being in charge is you can always change your prices. Would I recommend changing them all the time? No. I've done that. It's messy. Don't do that. Yeah. So I guess like with this, tell me maybe a little bit more, like any, like more, I know we talked about it a little bit, but like more specific, like instances of like sales conversations you've had, like maybe like last fall versus like now, like what kind of like advice or tip have you learned in that time to help make them a little bit better?
So with the sales that I have learned, so like we kind of said, is being more precise. So like you said, like kind of have 3 questions in mind, you know, when you're doing a consult call, 3 questions, you know, like what's going on? Like, what's it, I should say, what's it, like what's causing your issues, or what's a good one you said, like, what's it hindering your daily life? Like kind of like what are things that you're not able to do? I couldn't get that out of my brain. What you couldn't do. And, you know, maybe just trying to get to know them a little bit. Let them, honestly, what's better for me is letting them kind of lead the conversation versus me just.
Love it.
So letting them like, oh, so tell me what's going on. Oh, great. Well, how does that, you know, hinder what you're doing in your everyday life? You know, and then just kind of going into that, like, okay, great. Well, you know what? I have treated people that have the exact same issues that you have done, and they get back to running and jumping with no problems, you know. I have openings for evaluations, you know, next week on Tuesday at 2 or at Thursday at 3. Anything that work for you. And, you know, just trying to be, like I said, very precise, letting them lead the conversation, me interjecting with, I can help you. This is, you know, simple 2 sentences of someone I've done, or this is what we can get this better for you. And then right into like, this is what I have going on. What do you say? Like, see about making a commitment. And I feel like before, like I said, it would just be like, I'm going to talk. And I think that was my biggest eye opener. And it takes you back though to like your normal PT evaluations. Like your subjective portion is just you sit there and nod and go, oh, tell me more. oh, I'm so sorry. Like you show empathy, you nod, you gesture back to them, like what they're doing to know that you are listening to them. There's some built in, and that's what you're doing. You're just doing a subjective portion of evaluation to get somebody to feel comfortable with you, to then want to do an eval with you. Like just like, an outpatient, like either it's right there next in the room, like, okay, great, let's get on the table, let's go through the evaluation. Or here you're doing a consult, you're subjectively getting all the, little information, getting them to feel comfortable with you. Say, yep, I can help you. Let's make a date for an evaluation so we can continue. That's basically it. And the more I thought of it that way, it just became, it's just easier. I feel less stress going into it. I think what you said, I think it was what you said with Callie, about when you talk with patients. How would you phrase it? It was just like that, just more of like a conversation. When you go on with less stress, thinking of like, oh, that's what you said. I love that phrase. It was, even if we don't work together.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to people, like, I say that, even if we don't work together, like I hope you find, or, if you need any advice, because just like that one girl I told you about, I was so upset, where I was so excited because she even reached out to me. I talked to her like, my gosh, like over a month or 2 months ago. And she emailed me. I gave her my card. And she then said, hey, I would love to have a phone call to talk about what we can do. She was all for it. Great. Told my prices. She goes, yep, that sounds great. I have an HSA account. I'm like, perfect, we can do that. And then I get an email from her like a week later just saying, hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't get back to you, because she kept rescheduling. And I'm like, this is probably not good.
Yeah.
And she's just like, yeah, we just, found she was pregnant. She's looking for someone to go over exercise with, and we just found a cheaper option and just worked better with our budget. I'm so sorry if it inconvenienced you, And what you just said was great. It just showed empathy. Then, like, I was bummed, super bummed, because we had a good connection, but and then I was just emailed her back. I said, listen, I was like, I'm super happy that you still found somebody. I think it's great that you're going to get this care during this time. So if you have any questions, let me know. And I gave her a free video of exercises, or like a little live chat I did. Here's a little video, maybe some tips on during pregnancy. Have any questions? Let me know. And I said, hope to see you at another workout class. And that was that. And that helps. It's less stress. Like, hey, if we really want to work together, we'll make it work. If not, I hope you at least get something that you're looking for.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Rachel. That's so cool. Like all the stuff that you're sharing, and like everything that, you and I have talked about over the past year. Like, it's so cool to like hear, not that like you like took my advice, implemented it or whatever, but you're so confident about it. Like it sounds to me like, you've been in business for like years.
Oh gosh, no. I think so I had a baby, in March, and we did my grand opening like 3 weeks after my baby.
Yeah.
So talk about like crazy, like, and of course I'm that person too. Like I was getting bummed because I just make goals for myself. Like, I wanted like 6 consistent clients by this time. And then I just kind of step back, like, listen, you got a newborn, you got this going on, like, just keep plugging. So like I said, with your thing is I kept reaching out to like, those third person people, I kept reaching out to like the gym owners and this, but really help them. Like I said, immersing myself, going to classes, talking to actual clients, and that opened the door. So now I'm going to talk to people at Spin Cycle Bar next week. I'm going to a convention on Saturday. Yeah. The babies and bumps. Hello, pregnancy people. So, I just need to get out there and talk to people. And like I said, the stress level is it's just so much better just knowing, like, you know what? I think it helps too. I'm going to tell people that I still work PRN. So it's not that I quit my job completely. I know some people jump ship, do it all, and good for you. Like, honestly, if my job was that bad, I would. But my job is so flexible that it's nice. Like, if I get somebody that wants to do an eval on a Tuesday, I just say, yep, not working this day. And they're like, okay. So it's just so much easier to slowly, I should say, peel away from.
Yeah.
But so it's just been nice that way to kind of help build it up and take stress off me. Like I said, I don't get, like 15 or 12 in a week to make like my minimum. I'm like, get 1 or 2 in, and you'll just keep word of mouth, keep building. So I'm that slow growth, like you said, with some people. Yeah. I'm a slow growth person.
And that's totally okay. Because like, I feel like too, like there are probably people who are like newer to business stuff. And, you know, especially with like social media, you see so many people on social media being like, oh, like so successful or whatever. And you have no idea like how long it took them to get there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, I know that sometimes I used to like internalize that, but it's just everybody's journey is just so completely different. And I think when you go into all of this stuff with basically like no expectations, like a very like neutral position on all of it, that also like really helps to relieve stress, you know, because then you're not like going into conversations and saying like, oh, they're not going to want to pay me, or, you know, like, oh my God, like, how are they going to react to the price, or just like whatever you're worried about, because like you don't even know if like you're a good fit to work together.
Yeah.
But like the pricing stuff doesn't even matter at the very beginning. And I really like the fact that, you know, like you emailed the lead back, and it just feel like it sounds cheesy. There's like a motorcycle outside. I feel like it sounds cheesy.
In the lightning storm? What?
Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh no. But I feel like it sounds cheesy, but it's almost kind of like, you know, like leading by example, or like leading with love and kindness, because it's just like so much less heavy on your heart when like you find a positive and kind way for closure for yourself, because you can't control what other people are going to do. No, you know, right. And so like if something doesn't go your way, whether it's an event or a sales call or a patient, whatever, you know, like give yourself like 2 minutes to be bummed about it. And then, you know, like Rachel just said, find a way to create closure yourself that's still kind to the other person and provides value. You know, so that like at least I know as a clinician, if somebody were to like hire me and then like, you know, decline the next day, but they had like a bunch of back pain, at least like as a PT, if I send them like exercises for back pain and I say, you know, good luck, like, you know, try these out, then I can sleep at night, you know, and like I don't have to worry about them. And if they want to come back, they totally can. Yeah. But yeah, it takes finding these like little things to take pressure off of yourself. You know, like I usually say that phrase like at the beginning of like consult call with anybody. You know, like here, Rachel, here's how the call is going to go. You know, you tell me about you and then what you want to do. And if we're a good fit, we can talk about how that works. But if we're not, or, you know, like you want to go down a different route, that's totally okay, because whether we work together or not, like right here and right now, I am here to help you find direction. Yeah. You know, and you can use that exact phrase. I feel like no matter what you're selling.
Oh yeah. It's just showing that compassion, showing that you care. And that's what we do for therapy. I said, like, doctors are great, don't get me wrong, but they get 15 minutes with somebody and then they have to get off the door. Like, this is what they're looking for. They want somebody to listen to them. They want somebody to hear them. And that's what you're there for. You're right. Even for their consult call. The way to put it, it's like, listen, even if it doesn't work out for us, like we don't work past this call, I'm yours right now. Like, lay it on me. Like, what's going on? And I will do my best to help you.
Yeah. And I wanted to go back and just ask you, because I get this question often, and I know that like you and I have talked about it, but I wanted to hear what your advice might be for somebody. Say you get a lead, how often should you follow up with them and for how long?
Oh, that's a good question. So leads that I get, I would say if it's from like a patient lead, I usually will end up, say we talk, I usually follow up with them usually within like 48 hours to touch base. Like, hey, you know, like maybe if I try to offer a call and they're like, oh, I just don't know, I'll just try to, like I said, I'm trying to do my better. I'm doing better at before I leave talk with somebody, saying, hey, I got to go, but I have time to talk tomorrow at 1 or 3 o'clock. And does that work for you? And they're like hesitant, like, I don't know. I have to look at my schedule. It's like, okay. So then I just have their information at least. And then I'll kind of like, you know, at least 2 days later, hey, just checking to see, I know you're really busy, but, you know, I would love to talk more about these issues that you have going on. And again, I have these times over the next few days. Does that work for you? So I'm usually kind of on them that way, maybe in the beginning. And if I keep getting like pushback, okay, great. Then I just kind of make sure their information's in for my newsletters, in my, hey, here's my Facebook group. And I just start seeing, okay, are they looking at things? And then it makes me wonder, okay, maybe in, maybe, I don't know, I kind of wait maybe like 2 weeks or so, like, oh, hey, it's me again. So I try to balance this, like maybe in the beginning, if you feel like it's going to happen, I try to be that resource for them, like, hey, you need me, let's go. But if they keep, like, oh, like push, like after like, me reaching out like 2 or 3, like two times maybe after our first encounter, then okay, I kind of just step back and then let them, not let them come to me, but let them, all right, just look at my stuff I have coming out. And then, revisit a couple weeks. Hey, how's it been going? I saw you at the workout again last week, and just touching base. But that's the only one I do. I normally touch base at least for some leads to like once a week, if it's just either by some of my friends, like I reached out, we had a baby, by text, like, hey, how's baby? How are you feeling? Are you back to walking yet? Do you have any incontinence? Like, what's going on? And just talking, because I have a baby. Oh yeah, my baby's doing this, so it's conversation. And then I'm gonna go see one of my other friends and next week. I was supposed to go last week and they got COVID, so I had to push back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I've been doing it. And then I've been trying to use, I know Callie is so much better at using the CRM, but I've been trying to put in some patients and then trying to put in like other leads of like, workout class people. So then those are the hardest ones, man. You go in and doctors and I give my flyers and I'm like, why won't you call me back?
Yeah.
That's when those ones are more like, again, maybe in the beginning, I send my flyers face to face, like stop in. Usually they don't come to see me. If the secretary is like, oh, I'll give them to them. So then I wait like about a week and then I send an email out. Hey, just checking in to seeing if the doctor, had time to look at my flyer. Had any questions, would love to, talk either over the phone or in person. Same thing for like gym owners. I go in face to face, give my flyer, give a little spiel, and then touch base about a week later, kind of thing. So that's normally what I've been doing. I could definitely be doing better at it, but I normally just try to do check-ins that way. So not a clear, precise answer, but like I said, it's more of a heavy maybe right in the beginning, just so they don't forget. Like in me, I'm the professional director, like you do need me. But if I keep feeling that pushback, I don't want them to feel like I am forcing it. So I'm like, okay, great. I did give them resources. Here's my group. Here's some tips. Check it out. And then come back again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really like that, Rachel, like the different ways that you are, following up with people. And like something that I feel like has also kind of helped me a little bit as far as like neutralizing like my emotional reaction to, what do you mean we're not going to do this? Like if they cancel, reschedule, whatever, which is a very human thing to do, like nobody is at fault for being like, oh man,
Yeah.
But do you know the trans theoretical model? Are you familiar with that?
I feel like you've mentioned it, and maybe in one of your talks.
Probably.
I've watched all of them, and not twice. So.
I wanted to just pull this up because this is like also a way that I like to visualize things, so that I don't get annoyed with anything. Open. I don't know if that's big enough. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Share my screen. Because I think that this will be like helpful for other people to take a look at too. See. All right. Can you see this baby model, Rachel?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. So this is something that like I actually learned about in sports psychology in college in one of my classes. And I think it was like exercise for rehab or something like that. And like such a big part of helping people solve their problem is like gently moving them along the journey, along the way. Like you can never force somebody to go forward and make a change, but if you create opportunities and offer resources for that, it like kind of allows them to get through this cycle. Even if they're like a little bit like wary about it. But I really like this because I think it really applies to like sales and marketing too. And the people that are saying yes right now, they're taking action, right? You know, like they're being decisive, but that's like, it's such a small part of your audience. Like just statistically, it's like in the single digit percentage are people that out of all the leads that you have, all the people you talk to, that like small group of people that is like, you know, let's schedule an evaluation right now. And so once you realize that, that also takes some pressure off of you, that you don't have to like try to like hard sell anybody on things, because if they are ready to take action when you offer them help, they're going to, you know. So I like to kind of like overlap this with the sales process where, you know, this is what we want people to do, but we have to realize that there are going to be people still in pre-contemplation, which is, you know, before they really like acknowledge they have a problem, whether it's, you know, knee pain, leaking when you're running or whatever it is. They're not necessarily even aware of anything. And that's where like the generating awareness aspect of marketing comes in, because you help to educate people and help them identify if they need the help or if they don't. So like this is why like a lot of our content that we put out there can be like awareness driven and educational. And just kind of like really helping to educate a population. Just part of the reason why we went into healthcare is to, you know, help people with their health. And then we have people who are like, you know, like maybe I do have a problem. I don't know what to do about it. And then the next stage is determination, which is also called preparation. But like these are people who are like, okay, I have a problem. I need to figure out what resources are out there, you know, and that's where like Rachel, you were saying, you know, you've like sent out resources to people who like expressed interest, but they weren't ready to take action. And so like just kind of like coaxing them along by continuing to provide the value that they're seeking, eventually you'll get them into the action stage, you know, and that action could either be working with you or essentially like unsubscribing and like leaving your realm, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
I like this because it's so true. It makes me think of me going back to, like I said, making the decision to get to have you be like my business coach. Because like, okay, like when I was in that phase, I have like pre-contemplation, like, okay, like, do I want to do this? I don't know. I want to commit to this. So I think about that the same thing as when I do think about patients that, you know, don't like jump to work with me right away. I think, okay, well, they're just not ready yet. There's something in their life that's not ready yet. And that's what does help. If you at least will get like their information now, maybe like say, maybe you're not ready to work with me one-on-one right now, but I can still help you. So let me show you tips and tricks on how to stop leaking, you know, like through my Facebook page, through this, you know, and it just lets them like, I'm just still in the back of their mind, you know, so that the day when, like mine, a couple months down the road, the day when, you know what, Rachel had that post a little while ago, and I think that's so true. I might contact her again because I'm having issues. Like, you know, so just keeping that door cracked, you know. It's not like I'm not in their face open, like, hello, like you need me. It's just more like, here's little ideas like that you might have a problem, and here's some tips that like, oh, I really like that, you know, or I can relate to her. That's just down the road, you know. And it's even how actually, even though, you know, so some of my other leads, they'll kind of be like, oh yeah, I talked to you a month ago, and then finally I was ready. So I've thought to myself that just because someone doesn't convert to you in that moment, maybe on that in the action phase, doesn't mean you need to forget about them forever. Like you said, if they do want to be done with you, they will find a way that you don't contact them anymore. Like they'll make it very obvious. It's like, okay, great, that's fine. Like you're not the client that I need to work with, you know, and it saves you energy, you know, like it saves me energy. Like, okay, great, that's fine. But the other ones that stick around, that, you know, look at your stuff, comment on things, like okay, like they're still there. They're still there.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes when I know somebody needs my help, I will tailor my social media posts and propaganda towards that person. So I know this one person, I'll be like, oh my goodness, I heard this person complaining about leaking all the time. No, this is going to, you know, so I'll be like, all right, tips and tricks on how to stop leaking, exercises, you know, and like, please contact me if you want to get back to running, you know, leak free. And you know, so it's like, it's almost like, oh, well, she's like talking right at me, you know, and like, well, kind of. So I think that's helped too. Like, especially like just the people that I, you know that are leads that I, are still around, I try to gravitate them in that way too.
Yeah, I really like that. Some,
Yeah.
Content marketing strategy with Dr. Rachel Collins. That's like, it's the same thing that like I've told people to do before, because I know like for me, sometimes whatever it is, you get frustrated and you're like, I just wish that people knew like why this is the way that it is. And so like channel that energy that frustration into doing a blog post or doing a video, like you said, or social media post, because most likely there's somebody else who's like thinking that way. So you can kind of like start to get ahead of objections that you might face. And it's a very good way to like express yourself without, being unprofessional, and just put it out there.
So that's what I kind of do. Like I said, like, there's someone out there that I know, like, ooh, I think this person, I said, I've talked before, at least has shown some interest, or I just know, like, listen, they are going to love the next couple posts, so just some things like that. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And so as we are kind of wrapping up for tonight, I'm looking at my like list of questions over here. We talked about so much stuff, and like it's so cool to like see, where you were at this time last year, where I was at this time last year. And, even though like I've been Rachel's coach for the past year, like I've still learned so much stuff too,
Oh my gosh. It's just the biggest thing for me. It's not only the, strategies of, how to do things, and learning like from your mistakes and how to do things better. It's been really helpful, but it just helped me grow as a person. Like you said, like I feel it in myself. I feel just more confident. I feel just more, I don't know. It's just something that I never, if you had told me graduating PT school, I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to own my own business, I'd be like, no, I don't. I just want to go to a clinic and make money a little bit, I just want to treat patients. Because I never wanted to be clinic director, because the clinic director was a lot of just behind the scenes paperwork. I'm like, I don't want to do that, But now, gosh, if you've asked me what my 10-year plan is now, like my goal is that I would love to grow, and I'd love to have a brick and mortar. I'd love to have more than one PT. I'd love to honestly have a nutritionist. I'd love to have a massage therapist. I'd love to have like a whole care team just for this population of pregnant postpartum women. Like I'd love to have classes, workshops, like multiple times a year for people who are in their third trimester, just to give them tips of what you can expect after baby, vaginal birth or C-section. Like I have all these ideas that I just want to grow. And if you would ask me that, like I said, 10 years ago, I'd be like, I just want to be in a clinic and get in and get out.
Yeah. And like even though that is, one way to go about being a therapist, and there's nothing wrong with it, there's definitely like a lot of things that, end up like growing and changing about you as and like for me, and obviously for Rachel too, the stress, the frustration, the worries, the scary new things that you have to do, it's all been worth it in the end, because it opens up so many more doors in your life, I think.
I have stretched my comfort zones, and it's only going to keep stretching. I know that. But to do my first like Facebook Live event was like, I thought I was going to die. It's just, I like to talk, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's ridiculous. But you just got to do it. And just I think what helps me is I always think, I said, my expectations are low. Like, don't go into it with all these big goals and then get upset with yourself. Like, oh, I only got like, 2 viewers. Like, so what? You got content. You were out there, you have the experience, and you learn what you want to do better next time. Like, that's how I take everything. Like, my first couple of posts, like, oh man, this could have been better. Like, okay, do it better next time. I stressed so much about the little stuff, and it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. So that would be like a big thing for me. I was, if I could tell people, it's like, just do it. Be uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. I'm telling you, that's the only way you're going to grow. Be uncomfortable, learn from your mistakes, and blossom afterwards.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for help either.
Oh my gosh. No. Help from, like I said, I asked for help from you, from my friends. I've had so much help from just my friends, just from helping me with like social media stuff, because I'm terrible at technology.
Yeah. And that's also a bonus, is that at least working with me, we do use the computer. So
that does help a lot. That's why I watch those videos multiple times. Like, wait, what did she do? Rewind.
Yeah, and like I have told like a couple of other people too, you know, like once you complete like the DPT to CEO program, you know, and keep like whether it's what I said like literally to do or like a different version of it, you also have become a salesperson and a marketing person.
Yes.
All in this process. And those are jobs that are never going to disappear.
Oh no, I'm so happy I'm learning them now, but I do hope to in the future when I, you know, have a good investment back into my business, I hope to pay somebody else to do those things.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my gosh, that'll be awesome. I can't wait to see where you're at in 10 years. It's going to be great.
I know.
Yay, confidence. That's so good. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up for tonight, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
This is just it's so cool to look back on everything and talk about, you know, everything that we both have learned. If people want to find you, where can they?
So I am based in Columbus, Ohio. My practice is Rachel Collins Physical Therapy, RCPT, and I have website. I should put it somewhere, but it's at www.drrachelcollins.com. Mm-hmm. And I have a Facebook, which is just my name, Rachel Collins. You can look me up and see my face. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm currently, like I said, in Columbus, but I also offer virtual appointments as well for people for pregnancy, postpartum, and any women's health.
Yay! Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Everybody who was able to come and watch live or anybody on the replay. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you do have any questions after listening to this, please feel free to, you know, reach out to either of us, comment down below on the video. You can find my stuff all over the place. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah, just thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Dr. Collins, and we'll plan to see everybody for the next one. Have a good day.
Thanks, Morgan.